Next, we have Nora Romero on her work, Morphological, Phylogeny, and Insights on Subgeneric Classification of the bee genus Liphanthus, Andrenidae, Panurginae.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy here to present today my latest results on the morphological phylogeny of Liphanthus with insights on subgeneric classification. This is the outline of my presentations. I hope you enjoy this talk. So before, I would like to give a little introduction on the bee genus Liphanthus. So this is a group of solitary mining bees in the family Andrenidae in the tribe Panurginae. So the tribe Panurginae is a tribe that is restricted to the Americas and is relatively diverse in genera in South America. This tree here on the left is the most recent phylogeny, molecular phylogeny of the tribe Panurginae, and this was by Bossert and colleagues, and using UCE. We can see here that the two species of Liphanthus that they use are well nested in a clade in the Panurginae. Sorry, can I find the, okay, in the Panurginae. So now, in terms of geographic distribution, this is where Liphanthus is found. And we can see clearly that the genus is most diverse in central Chile. Now, you can recognize Liphanthus by the shape of the stigma. So in Liphanthus, the stigma is narrow, just as narrow as the stigma, or just a little bit. And the portion inside the marginal cell is concave or flat as opposed to convex. And another feature is on the postgradual area of the tergum 2 in Liphanthus. It's very deep and shallow in other tergum. So there is important variation in the morphology of within the genus. So for example, some species have 3 submarginal cells, some species have only 2. There is also variation of the sternum 2 on some of some male species, such as these examples here. This is in the form of a spine and some sort of a brush here. And needless to say, with these pictures, Liphanthus is a group with highly sexual dimorphism. Now, this is the current taxonomic status. There are 49 described species in the genus. 30 of them have been placed in subgenera, but there are still 19 that remain with no placement. Now, in addition, there are at least 32 species that are new and that I am currently in progress of description. Naturally, they don't have a subgeneric placement. So when these species are added, then Liphanthus is going to be represent a significant portion of the species in the tribe. Right. So this lack of placement for some of the species have led me to this objective, which is to infer a morphological phylogeny that informs or sheds light into the subgeneric classification of Liphanthus. So back in 2021, I did a preliminary phylogeny that, even exploratory, it suggested that some changes were to be made. However, there were still a lot of questions, and it was clear that a more comprehensive phylogeny was needed. So that is the work that I was doing this spring and summer. So for the methods, we continue to use DNA barcoding and morphology for the species delimitations. We use the methods of cladistics. For our taxon sampling, we used 5 species in the out group, 50 species in the in group. So that was pretty much doubling up the amount of Liphanthus species in this phylogeny compared to the preliminary one. Now, for our characters matrix, we use 83 morphological characters. We looked at the external morphology of females and males, and also did some exploration on the internal structures such as genitalia and associated sterna. So these are my results. I have color-coded these three to match the current subgeneric classification of Liphanthus and some other groups that I will be talking to you about. So in terms of our group, we rooted our tree using Andrenidae based on the results by Bossert and colleagues from the Panurginae tribe. And so from their results, we also recovered Parasaurus as a sister taxa to Liphanthus. And if we look at this tree from this point and down, we notice that all the groups agree with the current classification of Liphanthus. So everything is straight forward with this portion here of the tree. However, things get a little trickier once we approach the base of the tree, and that is what I will be expanding a little bit more in this following slides. Sorry, I just want to go back to say that this is Incasaurus here. So there's where the first problem, we arise to say the first problem. So if we look at Incasaurus here, we think this species of Liphanthus, then Incasaurus is rendering Liphanthus paraphyletic, which is a problem. It's problematic, and this problem can be solved two ways. Either we change Liphanthus species to Incasaurus, or the other way around, we change Incasaurus so we made Incasaurus part of Liphanthus. So because of the distinct morphology of Incasaurus and also of these Liphanthus species here, we believe that the first option is better. So moving this Liphanthus species to Incasaurus is the most sensible thing to do at this point. Now, just as a brief details about this clade, these are the species that would be moved to Incasaurus. This tree here is just the same here, starting from this star, and we have annotated synapomorphisms and added bootstrap support groups. So Incasaurus is here, and this clade here with strong support, I am calling Opaca group just for the sake of this presentation. And it is a group that, well, it has very similar species, and they have a mostly a dull look, right? Like the sculpture is dull. Now, in terms of geography, this is where it can be found. And there are two species here, Incasaurus garciae and Liphanthus fritzi, which we did not include in this phylogeny, but clearly they belong to this group. Now, another group that I wanted to talk a little bit about is this one here in green. So because of the strong support of this group and the number of synapomorphisms, it wouldn't be surprising that this group is a new genus, and it would be, in this case, the sister taxa to Liphanthus. So I will see about that with further research. Now, in terms of geography, this is where these species are located. Liphanthus cuscoensis comes up here, and they are just one other species that we didn't include in this phylogeny, but resembles this the other species very much. Now, I'd like to share some good news about this group that I'm calling LATA because of the broad legs that they have. So in my recent visit to Peru, my colleague Jason Calisaya and we collected the undescribed female of Liphanthus cuscoensis. We found Liphanthus cuscoensis in 2 different locations in Peru. This is one of them in Puquina, Moquegua. And we found both the female and the male on Tarasa capitata, which is native plant of the family Malvasia. So that's all for today. And so I just want to finish with my conclusions. So my tree agrees with the previous subgeneric classification of Liphanthus almost entirely. We have also our tree, we noticed that there are at least 2 new subgenera, and some of the unplaced Liphanthus, they group with Incasaurus, suggesting that they should be changed with the genus. The clade Lata might be a new genus, and most importantly, all these changes are pending the inclusion of all species in a morphological phylogeny and ongoing UCE phylogenetic research. Just before finishing, I would like to thank all these people here, with special thanks to my supervisors, Lawrence Packer, and also my colleague, Jason Calisaya in Peru, for all his support in the field trip. And thank you for your attention. I will be happy to take any questions.